Well, another edition of the Coach's Corner here with head coach Steve Johnson. Coach, first off, good win for the team this past weekend, 63-13. And really, I think the moral of the story was, when you try to define a team effort in a win, that's exactly what it is. You get a special teams touchdown, your defense allows 233 yards, 18 on the ground, and then your offense explodes for over 500 yards of offense. You can't ask for anything more, really.
No, it was a beautiful day. McAllister's really come a long way. They've got a great quarterback, and so we knew we had our hands full with some things. But one of the things we preached all week, and we have been in the midst here, is there's some teams that are kind of out of it right now, and that's not us. But there's still a complacency that you can have, and because we've been at it a long time, there's a full month before you get to play games, and so I've been really proud of our guys, and our coaches are asking for us to just grow every day. We've got to get a little bit better, and that's not that easy because football practice, believe it or not, isn't that exciting. It can get kind of boring running into each other all the time. But I'm really proud of our guys, the way they've been, and then the energy they brought to a game that they're pretty sure that we're going to win. Right. And so I was really excited about the fact that we're just we're not only clicking, but on purpose growing and bringing poise and bringing the right heart to a lot of things. So.
Yeah, well, we kind of talked about it all season long about how deep this squad is. You get running back and Matt Teagling that gets to come into the game late. Couple rushing touchdowns. David Jeebley returns with a couple rushing touchdowns as Bryce Kunkel's out. And then once again, your receivers are just all over the place, flying around. And to have that benefit, especially on a road game where you got a roster limit, but all 60 of those guys can play.
Right. And that's the thing. People say, well, Mac is really good. We're just really deep. Our 60th guy is a heck of a football player, and Matt Teagling, he's our fourth back, and he's got all kinds of other things that he does well, but they'd like him, And so a lot of the score getting away is just that we're just so much deeper and going that way. So, again, it just really builds our program to be able to have a lot of guys play, a lot of guys contribute, doing it in a few ways, like you said. It was really gratifying.
Well, you move on to this next week here. You're hosting St. Olaf, senior day, family weekend, one of last three final regular season games. What do you have to look forward to? It's not a divisional matchup, but it's still a big football game.
Well, it's huge. Anytime you play a MIAC game, St. Olaf, we have good history with them, and they're a good football team, and we want to keep growing. It's the same thing. We're asking the guys for a lot during practice, and then when you're done, go study. But when you're here, boy, you got to give it, and it's a good thing for men to do. You got to be where you're at and be where your feet are and go. And so we're preparing for them. They've had a little bit up and down this year, but they're a good, solid football team. They really run the ball pretty well, and so. It's supposed to be a beautiful day again, so we've really been blessed with great weather. So come on out, it'll be a good game.
That's right. Well, you talk about the running game a little bit there with St. Olaf. The rushing defense on the Bethel side of things has just been phenomenal this year. We calculate it now 4 games where we've kept an opponent under 100 yards rushing. You hold Mac to 18 rushing yards on 25 carries. Talk a little bit about that defense and kind of the rushing game plan you have to go into against a team like St. Olaf.
Yeah, we revamped really out of last year, and I wouldn't revamp isn't we made adjustments because that's was one thing last year where we were really good at getting after the quarterback, but we weren't as good as we want to be on the rushing. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but we did make a concerted effort to be great against the run. Now, some of our statistics are if we're ahead, the other guys are throwing all the time, and then we're sacking them, so that does the rushing, right? But we don't want anyone to feel like they can comfortably run against us because then you're in trouble. So really proud of the defense, the way they've done those things. We're getting after the quarterback in a solid way. And so, statistics are kind of like what happens. They're not anything we're chasing, but it is a pretty good picture. We're good against the run, and but that doesn't mean we're going to load up on that and let them have anything as far as that's concerned. One of the things we talk about defensively, especially, is we don't want to give them anything for free, and nothing easy. Free would be penalties. We don't want any of those, but don't just make sure it's really hard, and then somebody can't last. So
yeah, well, off the field this weekend, family weekend on top of senior day. Family weekend's always special for you guys, right? You know, what goes into the pregame ceremonies, and the families always getting together pre-games, and just a real testament to the program as a whole of people just outside of the normal student athlete.
Yeah, it is a great weekend. We love having families here, and then our own, only coaches and players and football families know kind of what goes in. Guys are, football players that were never not football players. You're working out, year round for this, and we have kind of a cool thing where we have a tunnel where our guys come in the pregame. The parents make a tunnel, and the parents and family, and our guys just we call it the tunnel of thankfulness. Just lock eyes with your family and say I love you, and then we just go through that. And so it's kind of a cool ceremony to go along with all things that are going on. But it does, if you're a football family, the highs are high and the lows are low, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's awesome because I think it really grows you.
Well, and then last but not least, obviously senior day, you have a really good senior class that has come a long way. These guys have battled through COVID, some ups and downs, whether that's, trying to beat the Johnnies, getting into the NCAA playoffs. This group has kind of seen a lot of it, and it's got to be a special group that, you kind of continue the journey with here throughout the rest of the season, but you also get to look back on some of the things they've already accomplished.
Yeah, they're a terrific group, and they have a great play. All the senior classes have a great place in your heart, but this one really has been through some tough things, and they're really talented. And we want them to go out. We want them to go out well. Hopefully, this isn't their last game at Bethel at our field, but they are. And we try not to look at it that way. I remember back at let's win this one for the seniors. I'm like, well, why didn't we win game 2?
Right.
And so. We don't want to get too goofy on that because every single, we preach it every single day. It's not who we play, it's how we play, and let's do those things together and grow together. So we're going to give the Olies all we got.
Yeah. Well, kickoff is 1 o'clock on Arden Hill. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, right in the 60 degrees. You can't beat it. We'll have it out at Royal Stadium. We hope to see you here.
Can't wait.